What's up, friend, and welcome back to a new video. Today I wanted to talk with you about a topic that's been on my mind recently, which is finding your style. Now, I feel that a lot of people are talking about this, or they mention this when giving out advice to new freelance photographers, saying like, oh yeah, you should go out and develop your style, or go out and find your style. But no one's really giving out clear, concise advice as to how to actually go about this. So today I want to give you these 5 guidelines that worked for me, and I hope that these will explain and clarify the process of developing style for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first point that I want to make is that your style is not just your editing style. Now, what I mean by that is, if you, for example, look at my own feed right here, it's dominated by this gray, moody color scheme, but that's not the only characteristic feature of my photography. If that were the case, then I wouldn't be standing out at all, because there's dozens, if not hundreds of other photographers out there that have the same or a similar color scheme to me, which is absolutely fine. However, there's other things that I incorporate into my photography that make it unique to me, or at least a combination of these factors make it unique. For example, something I've been using recently is using motion in my images. If you look at this image right here, for example, I've got the train, and I could have just frozen that on the bridge right here, but now because it's in motion, I feel that it guides your eyes into the leading lines that ultimately lead to the cityscape in the background, right? Another feature that I've been using in my photography is leading lines, where all these lines in the image, whether they're buildings or, I don't know, street signs or markers on the road or whatever, they all lead to a figure in the center of the image. And it is the combination of all these features that ultimately amount to what I describe as my style. Not just the way I edit, but also the way I take my photos. These combined make up your style. So the second point that I wanted to make is that you create what you consume. Now, by that I don't mean that you should go out and imitate and replicate whatever your favorite creator is doing, but that which you create will definitely be inspired by the stuff that you enjoy consuming. For example, when I first started out in photography, I was heavily involved in parkour and freerunning. That's what I consumed the most content about. I'd spend hours and hours watching videos by other people who were active in that scene. And as I started creating myself, they were my biggest influences, and as such, they actually kind of shaped the way I created and the content that I created. So these moody gray tones that I mentioned earlier, they are directly derived from the stuff that I used to watch so regularly, and to this day they've had a lasting impact on my style. Now, over time, as you'll find different creators, maybe a new Netflix series that you really enjoy, all these different factors will come together and amount to what is your style. The third point I'd like to make is that your style will develop over time. It's not a fixed thing. And I've seen a lot of people get slightly worried about like, oh, I don't have a style yet, and how am I going to keep up with this, or I don't know what to do. Don't worry. Your style is something that has to naturally evolve, and as you find different sources of inspiration, as you learn new crafts, you learn new skills, your style will develop alongside with it. So if right now you're in a phase where you feel like you don't have a clearly defined style just yet, that's completely okay, because over time it will change. Over time you will grow as a creator, and with that your style will develop as well. So don't worry just yet. Just keep creating, keep finding inspiration, and over time you'll pinpoint what you like, what you don't like, and all these things will amount to your personal style. Point number 4 is related to a concern that I've seen people express, where they think to themselves, if I stick with this, that means I can no longer do X, Y, and Z that I also really enjoy. However, that's not the case. Because you are the one taking these photos, you are the one going into the post-processing, and you are the one delivering them, they will still contain your personality, even if their aesthetics don't necessarily match that of what you put on your Instagram. For example, I've got this one really cool client, they're a bar that I've worked with, and for them, they wanted something that had this vintage look to them, kind of film inspired, kind of tropical. That's fine, that's great. We ended up making a lot of photos for them that had this overall darker green film kind of hue to them, but that wouldn't match with my Instagram at all. However, these photos are still clearly my photos. The vibe, the moody look, that's still very much me, even though I wouldn't put this out onto my own Instagram. So that just goes to show that whatever you are creating, even if it doesn't match the aesthetics of a certain platform, that doesn't mean that they cannot be in your style, and it doesn't mean that your style is limited to what you put out on the gram. The fifth and final point that I'd like to make is probably the most important one, and that is that developing a style takes time. If someone says to you, oh, you should probably work on finding your own style, honestly, that just means you have to create more. As you create, you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll develop, and all these things will amount to defining and making it easier to define your personal style in photography. So no rush, appreciate the process, go out there, have fun, and go create. So that's it. If you found this video helpful, let me know with a like and a comment below. If you thought to yourself, well, I already have a clearly defined photography style, then I'll just say, and please leave a comment below. Maybe you can tell people how you got to where you are right now, and maybe they'll find value in that. If you want to see more of me, you can find me on Instagram over at @AaronBagel. If you want to grab my Lightroom presets, they're linked below on my website, aaronbagel.com. And with that being said, I hope to see you all next week. Peace.